What's going on YouTube? Today's topic, another financial topic, is eventually you will separate or retire from the military. So the question that I have is, are you financially fit for your transition? And the example that I'll have is when I was going to separate, not by choice, I started putting more money aside, saving. I didn't have any debt except for my mortgage and a car payment. So I started to save because I wasn't sure what the next job was going to be. The good thing is I got separation pay. So if you're separating, most likely you won't receive separation pay. How is your emergency fund for your transition? Do you have your next job lined up? If you're retiring, I've seen people who are retiring and are going to receive a paycheck for the rest of their life, but they're still stressed out. Not everybody, of course, but some people are stressed out because they may have a lot of debt. It could be a lot of different reasons. Maybe it's their lifestyle. I don't know. But what is your next plan? What is your transition plan looking like? If you're married, discuss that with your spouse. It's very important that you do that now if you haven't. And if you have, great, continue doing what you're doing. What is your plan as far as for work, or are you going to retire? So start thinking about that. We have on military installations a lot of services. My civilian job, I'm a financial counselor. Most military installations have financial counselors available. In the few cases where there aren't financial counselors available, go to Military OneSource and see if they can help you. Maybe do it online. Reach out to someone via email. Maybe you're in a remote location. So if that's the case, feel free to contact me with any questions, but you have to have a financial transition plan, just like your resume. If you are applying for a job and you don't have a resume, you're behind the power curve. So those are resources that are available on military installations. Question for you is, can you reduce your expenses right now before your transition begins? And one example is, we were in Hawaii and my wife said, I want to buy a second car, convertible, I don't care if it's used, but I said, let's find out if we're going to make the military cut. If we get to stay in service, we'll do that. If not, we're not going to buy another car because we have to pay for it to ship it. Military will ship one car from overseas to the US. So I didn't want to sell the car at the last minute or give it away. So I said, I'm going to ride a bicycle, and that's exactly what I did. 1 mile from base housing all the way to work and back each way. That's what we did. I reduced expenses, didn't have to have all these credit cards because I like to keep my money if possible, as opposed to when you get paid, the money goes out. Do you have the GI Bill, the post 9/11 GI Bill? As a financial counselor, I talk to a lot of individuals and I ask them, what are you going to do next? Oh, I'm going to go to school. Great. Are you going to work? Nope, just go to school. Okay, that's good. The post 9/11 GI Bill is a great option. But do you have enough money in your emergency fund or savings to live off of that while you go to school? If the answer is no, start to reevaluate your priorities, what you can do realistically. Because another thing that I get to see often is people sometimes say, oh, I'm going to go back home and live at home and go to school. Home meaning with their parents. If they're single, I'm not really crazy about that. When I left home and then I moved back home as a young individual, it was different. I didn't like it. At least for me, it didn't work. It worked 3 months and I needed to find my own place. But sometimes these people have families and they're like, no, we're going to go move with our in-laws. Yes, that's an option, but really, do you want to do that if that applies to you? So those are some of the things that I wanted to talk about. Do you have a budget for right now, how much you're earning? Do you have a projected budget for once you transition, whether you separate, whether you retire from the service? Because it's very important that you have that. You should be attending something called Transition Assistance Planning, TAP, regardless of your branch. If you're separating, thinking of separating, if you're retiring, or if you're thinking of retiring, attend that as soon as possible. Contact your military installation transition office, and they will assist you with that. There's a lot of resources online. There's a lot of resources on the military installation. Have a plan for your transition. And I'll leave you with this. My example is, yes, I was going to receive separation pay, which I did, but it was taxed. After I received my separation pay, maybe it was $33,000. which was good because I had something, but luckily I was able to find a job while I was on terminal leave, begin that job, and here is where reality hit me. As a service member, there's a lot of tax-free benefits that you and I may get. As a civilian, when I'm on civilian status, I don't get those tax-free benefits. I started my job and I was shocked when my first paycheck came in when I compared that to what I was making on active duty. So some of you are going to be fine. Most of you are going to be fine. Some of you need to work on your financial plan with your transition. There's nothing wrong with that. Use the resources available. Start thinking about that. If you've already thought about this, great. All I did was add some water to that seed. If you've never thought about your financial transition fund, remember, I just planted the seed, maybe, because I want to ensure that your transition goes as smooth as possible, because you are going from your paycheck steady, whether it's a lot or a little, first 15th. What does your future hold? You take care.